When I first heard of the idea for the Playboy murders, the producers showed me the cases they were thinking about covering, and they were cases that I had never heard of, and that really surprised me because I thought I knew everything about Playboy's history and about what happened to all the Playmates and things like that. And that really intrigued me, and I really saw that as a show that I would love to watch. So I was really excited about these stories, and I was really excited to bring more attention to these stories, and that was something that really appealed to me. I think when people think of Playboy or Playmates, they just think of like beautiful women and just very one-dimensional, sex symbols. But these are real people and they live real lives, and sometimes tragic things happen. And I think real human stories should be told. When I lived at the mansion, I felt safe in a lot of ways because you're living in this big house, behind a private gate with security. But sometimes, and I've learned this through the stories we're covering, sometimes that can be like a false sense of security for some of the women who are involved, because then after having all this exposure, they just go back to their normal lives where they don't have that security and they don't have that protection. And that can be a big adjustment sometimes, especially when fans and people who buy the magazines, sometimes there's people out there with, different ideas about what their accessibility should be. I was really surprised to learn about the 1-900 number. That took place about 10 or 15 years before I was involved with Playboy, and to me it was kind of surprising. It kind of seemed like something that didn't really align with what I understood the Playmate brand to be. It seemed a little accessible or too accessible, especially during a time period where a 1-900 number was thought of generally as like a sex line. That didn't really seem appropriate to me. It seemed like it was giving people a little too much access, especially since these women were making the calls from their own homes. So I was really surprised to learn about that. These are definitely really important cautionary tales for people who might want to go after fame or exposure, because I think from the outside you look at famous people and you think they all must have money and be really well taken care of and not have a care in the world, but that's not true. Fame doesn't necessarily guarantee you money or security or safety, and there's a lot of downside that comes with it, so I think it's important that people know that.